It's like, you want to work at a job, but the job fucking works you to fucking to the bones. You can't have it both ways, man. What are you trying to do?
Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say. Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of a crime like that?
Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here. Principally, that the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume, is the only person who could possibly have committed this crime.
Objection!
No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there is someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back. Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of this possibility already.
Lord Van Zeeks, is this true?
Very well. Name the person if you will, and if further investigation is warranted. The prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing. Bitch, who are you talking about? On the opposite side of the road? The only people I have in my inventory are these two fuckers. Are we trying to elude the fact that someone fucking the knife fell down? Right? That's it, right? That's all I got. That's all I have. I don't know.
We will name this other person who could have perpetrated the crime.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm assuming there's out of the people in my court records right now, there's no one else that could be other than fucking those fucking knuckleheads.
Take that!
I don't know. The defense would once again like to request the cross-examination of a new witness, my lord.
Once again.
My assistant made the same request earlier. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case, it's imperative that we cross-examine the juror number 4, Mrs. Jones Garadep.
Objection!
That request has already been denied.
Objection!
But the situation is very different now. Mrs. Garadep, answer me this.
What do you want now, you little toad?
At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garadep. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited. And to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looked out over Briar Road.
Well, what of it?
You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the open hinged casement window, the book plummeted directly down, finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident.
Yes, and as I said, what of it?
During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. So, let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garadep. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back, have you really never laid eyes on it before?
I don't recall it.
Seriously?
Am I supposed to remember everything I pick up and threw at my husband? And anyway, the man over there in all that regalia said members of the jury needed to testify, didn't he?
Conveniently, yes.
Objection!
No, I have no recollection of saying that at all. Juror number 4. Oh, you putting words in his mouth? You done fucked. I thought she was referring to the judge. Make no mistake, you jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process. If you know something about this knife, madam, let the truth come out.
But this is a common old garden knife. It could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know?
What's that?
Are you joking? What are you saying? Please, Mrs. Garadep.
Well, she at least knows what the... Now, no, who's saying this? Listen to me.
I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I'd injured someone. Do you hear? I couldn't bear it.
Oh, the poor woman.
So, yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. You're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife and that's what you did. Come along now. Do your worst.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo? If I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it at her already.
Then take the stand, Jor. Oh!
The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman. Hey, coming through for us! Thank you, Lord Van Zeeks.
I'm going to have to testify. Juror number 4. As I'm sure you will appreciate, having observed it with your own eyes today. Witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware. Oh, dearie me. So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Garden. And mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth. Do you concur, counsels?
Certainly, my lord. Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord. Yeah, we're going for the truth. This is such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving in this country, it actually feels real. I'm here, in the Old Bailey. I'm a lawyer. Oh my god, fucking Van Zeek has such broad shoulders and such a tiny little waist.
Witness, state your name and occupation. Oh, yes, my name is Joan Garrett, and I'm a juror, and such like.
It sounds like even she doesn't know if she's a housewife or a maid or what anymore.
The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madame? Oh, yes, my lord.
Their voices are too similar. You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. My butt is tired.
And I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth. Oh, dearie me. Shut up, Joni. Nothing to worry about now.
I'm guessing. Oh, no, there he is.
Oh, I didn't know you were here, John.
He went to the trouble of putting his badge on.
Wasn't only you. Wasn't only you in the room that day, old thing, was it? Rather think I ought to testify as well, don't you? But what about your knee, dear? Don't you worry about that. Hardly noticed it. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone. Oh, John. I presume you are Mr. John Garrett. Yes, sir. Former second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Northumberland whatever. Seen my fair share of action and now living the quiet life, as it were. The quiet life. Were you not engaged in an incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question? Well, yes. Quite. I believe this may represent a first in the proud history of the British court. Calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, and that of your husband. You will recount clearly and concisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question. Sir, at once! Yes, on the day you're referring to. The wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now. Knocked the candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out, though, and got the window open. Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him. Plenty of knives around our place. Can't say I noticed if 1 or 2 went missing, I'm afraid. And that bally thing in the victim's back really was one of ours. You'll have a job proving it, I think. Thanks for your help. Sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your household that evening. Although, an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. Had no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures.
His pipe is not on that plate. It's just floating there now.
To be honest, if the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute, we'd have been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself is only too aware that on every battlefield, you're just a gnat's whisker from death at any moment.
Are we still talking about a marital quarrel here?
Well, I must say, I'm dubious that this testimony will shed any light on the origins of this jackknife. In combat, one's focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer anything more than what they've testified already. This may be a dead end.
Van Seeks may well be right.
Well, whatever the chances, we only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Very well, Counsel. Begin your cross-examination.
Okay. I truly hope this is the last one. How am I going? Okay. The reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe.
Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started because of a note that was tucked into the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Garrideb.
A rather passionate note, in fact. But Mrs. Garrideb found the note, discovering her husband's little secret.
And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too.
What a sordid state of affairs.
Hell on earth. Yeah, you'll never understand what it means to be in love.
I say, when a chap says he can't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it all up. And besides, half everyone was just wide of the mark anyway. Our likely story.
These waters run very deep.
And what transpired next after these multiple blows to the face?
Lock the candlestick overnight, divide the camp soon ended out, got the window open.
And the fire also spread to some items on furniture, didn't it?
The bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine, really. Just so happens there was some bath water around that evening, so I sloshed that about to put it out. A most precarious situation to put yourself in. Ours is a 3-story townhouse on the west side of the street, where the water main isn't connected yet. Have to draw water from the public water pump during the day if you need any, you see. The lodgers are always moaning that they can't get any water at night. Hello, that little mustache Japanese man buys waters in bottles, I believe.
The defendant, Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, he receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country. Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off.
Have you actually seen the state of the man?
I believe he uses all of his income to buy books.
Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with full water, fortunately enough. Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him.
Hold it!
Even though the room was on fire?
As far as I was concerned at the time, it was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw. And yes, I did talk while I was sipping tea. Don't worry about it.
That is most certainly not true of the Susato takedown, Mr. Naruhodo.
How does she know I was thinking that? So, please cast your mind back and try to remember. Was a knife among the items that you threw at your husband that day?
In all honesty, I don't recall. But I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, a cabbage, garlic, a towel, and a sponge, a napkin.
Excuse me.
What? Do you have something to add, sir? Oh yeah, she doesn't mention any of the books. Mr. Garrideb!
Don't shoot! Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind?
Nothing of any significance, no. Just that the barrage of projectiles that old thing launched in my direction was somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and the fire poker, I seem to recall.
How?
And the woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a direct hit with every bell. Ah! Good Good grief, woman! We're not at home now! This is a court of law! Oh, dearie me. Ever so sorry, dear.
God. What's she even doing with the teapot in here? And who's replenishing it?
Honestly, John, I would never have thrown such a thing at you, obviously. Well, take a look at this then. How do you suppose that happened, Your pipe, sir? Had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles, she did. Yes. And when I went to pick the thing up, it was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage.
I see. Your pipe was broken.
It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I've managed to bandage the thing up for now.
You are one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear? I wonder what we should make of this account.
I don't know. Maybe it's important. I don't fucking know.
Did the knife hit it? Did the knife hit the pipe and then get chipped when it fell? And then it... I don't fucking know. The defense believes Mr. Garrett's remarks just now to be of great significance.
Objection!
Oops. This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife and pipes as well as hearts may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to the formal testimony.
Indeed. Common sense, one might say.
Might one?
In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir?
Well, I don't see why not.
Oh, dearie me. There you go again, trying to ingrit whatever yourself with a young lady. I don't know what that word meant, but shut up.
Very well. The court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence.
Yeah, boy. Let's examine it.
I hope I didn't speak out of turn, Mr. Naruhodo. I was just feeling rather disappointed for you that your request was turned down.
Oh no, it's fine. Thanks to Susato-san, we have some new evidence to work with. We should examine it carefully.
Well, thank you for that rebuttal, Mr. Garrett. Now, if we could return to the crux of the matter. What can you tell us, the court, about the knife used to attack the victim?
Let's look at the pipe. Take that fucking tape off. Oh wait, there's a chip. My screen is so dark. It looks to be in a starry state with that bandage around it, doesn't it? But for some reason, it feels slightly ominous to me. Like it's trying to shout out a warning. Probably because it's the same blue as Mr. Garrett's dressing gown.
I suppose it must have considerable sentimental value to Mr. Garrett, given that he's gone to the trouble of repairing it like this.
Either that, or he can't afford to replace it. Is it maybe this chip thing? Ah! Wasn't expected. What the hell is he even smoking then? He's not even smoking a thing. Hello? Oh, something just twinkled inside the chamber of the pipe there.
Yes, I saw it. Something stuck in there, I think.
Let's turn it over and give it a shake. What's this? It's a tiny fragment of metal. It looks like the tip of a blade or something. The tip of a blade. Surely, it couldn't be. Bitch, what we found? Bitch, we got it. Bitch, we got him. Okay. I was trying to figure out how I was supposed to present that, but here we go.
Objection!
Mr. Garrett, could I ask you to take a good look at this pipe, please? Oh, look at this, please.
You can ask, but I can't see a bally thing.
You can't?
You used to call me Dead-Eye Deb back in the regiment, of course. But that was some time ago now. Even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days. I struggle to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest.
Oh, he does. Dearie me, it's rather wearing being asked about every other letter and every other word. You must be very dizzy.
Shut up. What is that? A tiny scrap of metal.
Yes, almost certainly from the tip of a blade. And what may appear at first to be just a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence. Interesting. And where did the defense come by this evidence? It was lodged in the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe.
My pipe, you say? By Jove, I wonder how that got in there. And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Counsel? Are you suggesting that it is in some way related to the matter of the stabbing of Briar Road?
I am.
What?
When put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record, I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of this case, my lord. Oh my god, his butt's on his butt! The back of his fucking robe was burned. You can see his underwear sticking out. Get a new robe. I guess you're poor. I'm sorry.
You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, Counsel. Very well then. Present the pertinent evidence to the court. What evidence, when paired with this fragment of metal, allegedly reveals the truth of this entire case?
Take that!
Take that. Oh my god, my butt is killing me from sitting for so long. This is the knife that was found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you will see that there is a small piece at the tip of the blade that is missing.
Common issue with the inferior blade sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in their victim's bones. And what of this particular knife?
No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate, now languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Objection!
No, you dope. No, that's not the case. The tip of this particular knife blade is the very fragment of metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe.
Oh!
Oh, whoa, he got shot.
Good grief, Lord Van Zeeks! I don't believe it.
Dramatic, so dramatic.
The knife from the crime scene and this fragment of metal are a perfect match. Good golly gosh.
Oh my god, I forgot the jurors are still there. I haven't said anything.
Order! Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery?
This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle.
A miracle?
So Van Zeeks has figured it out, has he?
Counsel, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once.
Yes, my lord. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is, when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe? Something that was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony.
Had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with whatever soft projectile she did. Yes. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid.
Look at her.
Oh, dearie me.
During the argument between these two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below, Mrs. Garrideb flung this knife at her husband. Why would you fling a knife that opened? I mean, you shouldn't be flinging these to begin with, but god, whatever. However, the knife missed Mr. Garrideb, instead striking the pipe in his hand at the time, which caused the tip to break off. Of course.
Good lord!
Yes, and that is when the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe.
The chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1!
And yet there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out the open window.
What are the chances of that happening?
In short, this knife, which fell from the window of the Garrideb house, is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back of the street below.
Oh gosh, oh dear. Oh.
No! Objection!
A full body theory, I'll give you that. A complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points, plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically Nipponese approach to bottling his argument.
Sorry?
But after all, it's just a theory. The bottle, I fear, is corked. Because you see... Oh, okay, I thought he was gonna do something different. It's spoiled by an insurmountable inconsistency.
An insurmountable... What?
We were supposed to be done! Why are you prolonging this? Lord Van Zeeks, explain yourself. What is this inconsistency you claim to have identified?
An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord.
The victim was found with a knife planted in the middle of her back.
She bent down to pick up the book. Wait, I figured it out. She bent down to pick up the book. Yes, in her... She bent down to pick up the book. She bent down to pick up the book. Please.
That's right, you silly little man.
Now, Joan, old thing. What are you getting so excited about?
Let us consider the basic fact of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back, falling to the ground. If the knife had struck her and fallen from above, there's no possible way it could have planted itself into the victim's back.
Ah! I figured it out. Just let me do it, please. She bent over to pick up the fucking book that fell. Ah!
Order! Quite right, you see. That's exactly right. If the knife had fallen from her from above, it would have struck her on the top of her head.
Well,
He's lost for words, look. I knew it, I never liked his theory in the first place. I don't know though what really did happen.
It would appear the defense has made a rather spectacular blunder.
no, fucking hell. God, I hate you guys.
If a theory has even one inconsistency, it cannot stand. Your theory, my learned friend, is history.
No! Sorry, guys. Come on. We were so close. I could see the truth. Yeah, and I could too. You need to open your eyes. God damn it. I was so sure we were on the right track. But now the way has been blocked completely by just one simple inconsistency.
Or in other words,
We simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency, and the theory will stand.
Mr. Sato, do you know?
You mustn't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. You were just caught off guard, that's all. And your mind went blank. But if the path you were on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself. The key to this is in the court record, I'm sure. All the information you need is there.
it seems you have nothing to say, my Nipponese friend. Well, your silence speaks volumes. A tactic of acceptance that your theory is fatally flawed.
No, gosh, God, fuck, God. Yeah, object. God. He objected with his head down. Please. This inconsistency doesn't mean I was on the wrong track. It means that I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test. Yes. If the knife fell on the victim from above, there's no way that it could have hit her in the middle of her back. Under normal circumstances, that is.
What are you implying? Counsel!
There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. That can explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. We already have the answer.
Goodness! Utter madness!
So now, okay.
Surely this must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak.
This is the last inconsistency, the final piece in the puzzle. If I can successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last. The evidence that explains how the falling knife became lodged in the victim's back is this. Now, there's two options. There's either the book itself or this.
Take that!
This, the fourth book found at the scene. This is the final piece of evidence the defense will present. Okay, I didn't present the book, but it looks like either way would have worked.
The burnt book. Is that not Mr. Garrett's book?
Yes, and to understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. This photographic print clearly shows the book in question, and the victim holding it in her hand.
But as we all know,
it was the police constable that put the book between her fingers like that.
Quite so.
as part of his wholesale transplanting of the crime scene to the opposite side of the road. That's true. However, as part of his testimony, Constable Beat made an extremely enlightening statement at that point. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand?
Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. When we first went over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand.
In other words, the victim had already picked the book up of her own volition. And clearly, that must have been before she suffered the knife wound. Well, I should say so. After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd have been doing much of anything. So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand?
By Jingo!
Jingo?
I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now. Oh, dearie me.
We know that the book fell from the top floor of the Garudab household onto the pavement below, at precisely that moment that the victim was walking past. Yes, at exactly that moment, the young woman was walking along the streets in the light fog, when all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her.
The book I threw.
Sorry. Yes, Mrs. Garudab. And what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed right in front of you on the pavement?
Well, I really can't imagine it, but I suppose she might have reached down.
Oh, look how cute she is bending over
And picked the book up.
Yes, that is exactly what the woman in fact did. She picked up the book.
Oh heavens!
And when the woman reached down to pick up the fallen book up, what position would her back have been in? That's right, facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. And then, in the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book. That sucks. The next object fell from the room above, the jackknife, straight into the middle of her back. And at the same time, walking by chance directly behind Miss Green, was the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume.
Well, I never.
It appeared to Mr. Natsume that the woman simply collapsed on the floor. And in the dark and the fog, he didn't see the knife falling on her from above.
Oh.
And from the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker. So there never was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place. No, this was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated into an unfortunate accident. And that is the real truth behind the case. Well now. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Garudab. Maybe this is why she didn't die. Maybe she's gonna wake up and then they're not gonna be in any trouble. The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions. I wondered if perhaps it might have been something like that.
There, old bean.
Poor Mrs. Garudab.
Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it? I take full responsibility. I let my anger get the better of me. I threw that book. And I threw the knife as well. John, dear. It's alright. I know. I'm ever so sorry. Truly.
I'm sorry! Why'd she faint? Oh my god, he caught her! Bro, you're trying. Oh, you just... It's funny. It's funny because we saw on their wedding photo that he was able to carry her, but now he's too old and he can't.
Lord Van Zieks, what news of Mrs. Gardup?
She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that today's event has left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There is no cause for concern.
Yes, unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could easily have been a terrible tragedy. They shall have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions.
There is some good news, however, my lord. I have just had word from the hospital where the victim is being treated. Her condition is improving steadily, and the doctor believes she will regain consciousness soon. It's strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but we never once met her.
How wonderful! The woman's out of danger, it seems.
Yes, that is good news.
So, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Yes. On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I would like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture, and have been repaid with immeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies. No, it isn't me who should be begging your pardon.
Oh no, Mr. Natsume.
That evening, when the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusion again in my confusion. What conclusion, sir? I was sure that the woman was dead.
Yes, Constable Beetle? Constable Beat said the same thing, didn't he? He thought she had been killed too.
I suppose she must have looked completely lifeless.
It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog, like they're haunting me.
Poor Soseki-san. His imagination really has gotten the better of him.
Yes, poor man.
So what had happened? I thought that the young woman had been taken by the fog spirit. I should never have dropped my books like that and run away. I should have called for help, for a doctor, for the police. Instead, I've managed to create a rift in the relationship of trust between our two empires. And for that, I am truly sorry. One could indeed say that some sort of mischievous spirit has been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps. We were befooled by the spirit and led to false conclusions. But thanks to Lord Van Zieks and our young lawyer here from the east, that chain has now been broken, and the spirit exorcised. I heartily commend you both.
Oh!
Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Yes, my lord.
In concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decision regarding the defendant's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the court?
As for the foreman of the jury, I can assure you we've reached a fair and just conclusion.
I do declare the truth can be extremely cruel at times.
Well, I didn't suspect a woman next to me, that's for sure.
Sitting in for the old bean while she's out of action, you know. But I know what her decision would be. Doesn't mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work. Well, it's about time.
I say, I'll have a corker of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I?
Very well. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby demand your final decisions. Mr. Foreman.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
So fucking stupid. I still hate this thing.
Very well, Mr. Soseki Natsume, I hereby pronounce you.
Finally, a true not guilty. A real not guilty. Oh god, I feel so much better. I mean, like, maybe now we learn. Don't fucking throw knives out the window. Or don't throw knives at people, maybe. You fucking just... What an idiot. And finally, Mr. Natsume. Oh, yes, Lord Sir. You are now a free man once more. It is my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture. And may you never again be brought before me. oh, yes, sir. Of course. On my life, I swear I'll never set foot in a courtroom again. Checkpoint 2 tears. Okay. Thank you, consuls. Court is adjourned. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Well, that's that. My god, this took the whole fucking day. Okay, as always, it takes a whole day. Oh, locum! Wait, you mean me? Of course! Is there not a locum here? What is it? What is even a locum? Am I even saying that right? Is there even one?
Compared to that original locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, your name has become rather short, hasn't it?
What's wrong with using my actual name? Oh, at last, I'm free! I'm free! Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation! Hearty happiness, hurrah!
Oh, I am pleased. Mr. Natsume is delighted.
Would it be so hard just to say that then? Locum, you did it! You saved me from the brink! Well, what happens if the poor woman was in no way your fault after all? I'm just glad everyone can see that now. No, not that! Lovely, loyal, locum lawyer! What? Yes? I mean, as I said before, I have just never got used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I looked over my shoulder, I see foreigners. I see towering brick buildings. And from high up windows, I see them looking down on me laughing. Look at that little hunchback.
Oh dear, I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume.
But today, you locum lawyer gave my gloom the boot. You stood firm behind that baronial bunch before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, laying bare the baffling truth. And when I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold the best barrister in the world!" I'm tired. Well, that's very flattering, and we're very pleased for you. This has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount to my old friends back in Japan. An anecdote? Is that what's to become of all my hard work? Ah, there you are, my dear fellows. Who's this? Oh my god! I forgot you! I'm so happy to see him. I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning. Bitch! What? It's already 3 in the afternoon!
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, what a pleasure to see you.
I see I am here not a moment too soon. A disaster has been averted, I'm glad to say.
Oh,
The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Naruhodo, and I wish you the very best of luck. It's just finished. What? No! Then my haste was in vain! Ah, it's you! Herlock Sholmes! Oh, have we met, sir?
this is Mr. Natsume, the man you had arrested, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounter had taken place in the gloom, either of your bleak lodgings or that prison cell. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light. Charming. This is all your fault, Herlock Sholmes. You're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. My apologies, sir, but I assure you, I have placed you now. You're the fellow who abandoned that poor young lady and ran off, are you not? Ah. Had you been taken to the hospital more urgently, I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now. Oh. But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but human after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience.
do feel very badly about how I behaved. Well, never mind. Now then, what was it that you wanted to say to me, sir? Nothing. Priceless! Oh, I am so sorry, really, but... that was quite priceless. Shut the fuck up. Poor Soseki-san. So rude! Still, on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And, it would seem, you were not even found guilty. But there is no bright side.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Natsume?
Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits, and now by the Raper!
Lord Van Zeeks.
I haven't forgotten, you know, what facing that man in court means! Even if you're found not guilty, you're still doomed!
You'll be alright, Mr. Natsume. If the Reaper appears trying to make trouble, I will protect you.
Oh! Okay, thanks.
With the perfectly executed Susato takedown.
Much as I like being turned on my head, a bit of warning might be nice next time, Mr. Sato. So, Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experiences to your friends back in Japan?
Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon.
Oh!
It has already been a year since I arrived here in Great Britain. I visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. I've learned so much about the wealth of literature here and the city it has shaped. And I've come to realize that it is my calling to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it.
That's very touching, Mr. Natsume.
Or, in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world to escape the terror of the Reaper's curse? That's not it at all! The more I learn of literature, the more the strange feeling claws at my insides. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen a work of my own.
Oh, I see. A work of literature by Soseki-san. Could be an interesting read.
And what about Miss Susato and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry? Oh, what about us?
Will you return to Japan alongside your mustached compatriot?
Why would we? A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London. And only now does it feel though we finally found our feet.
And you are accommodated in a hotel at present, are you not?
That's right. But we need to find lodgings before it bankrupts us.
I've calculated we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget is exhausted.
Well then, you can take my lodgings.
Oh, the windowless room?
But what it lacks in windows, it's more than makes up for with a floor, a ceiling, and walls.
Great.
And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed evil spirit.
Oh my, an evil spirit?
Oh yes. It tries to suffocate you while you sleep. It's an infallible wake-up call. Are you talking about the cat?
No. Oh well, we'll think about it, if that's alright.
Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative. Would you consider taking lodgings with me?
Ah, we get to live at homes! Really?
Well, a vacancy has conveniently presented itself.
What?
Though it is up in the attic, I might add.
Are you sure it isn't just a storage loft?
I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price, and Iris is cleaning the room as we speak. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of?
Oh, this is simply wonderful! What an honor to be invited to take lodgings in the great detective's office attic! I'm too overcome for words.
So suggesting we look elsewhere is out then.
Then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening. Yay! And you must come too, Mr. Natsume. I insist. I don't know what to say, but
thank you. And yes.
Wonderful! Then I'll go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long.
Somebody's happy. Yay!
Welcome. I knew that you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London.
Likewise, Mr. Natsume. It's been a privilege meeting you too. It's a shame that we're going to have to say goodbye so soon.
Well, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan. But Locum, we'll meet again one day.
Yes, I'm sure. And hopefully by then, I'll be a successful lawyer.
Hopefully by then, I'll be a successful author.
Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived. Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, Mr. Sholmes. I have little doubt Mr. Natsume will be released in time for dinner this evening. Here's hoping he doesn't die. Here's hoping he doesn't die. And so, with Soseki-san's innocence successfully established, we rode with Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home, 221B Baker Street. Yay! You get to be housemates! Oh, look! It's spacious! It's great! Is that just onions hanging up on the wall? What is that? Wow. It's even got a furnace and everything. So this...
It's to be our new office, yes.
Our office? I'd rather like the sound of that.
Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it?
I hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's only a small step. But I'd like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now. So, my dear fellows, do you like the place? I was waiting to see if he was going to like show up without a hat and everything, and he did. His hair is a little bit too tall, but he's still still good. Mr. Sholmes, yes, thank you so much.
It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it.
Good, I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you.
Yeah! Oh, what was your voice? I hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. We'll eat as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives. We have a lot to celebrate. Iris, you must let me help you. All right then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad.
With the gun?
Splendid.
Look how tall and handsome he is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel to have your own office in the capital? It's very exciting, actually. I can't help wondering what adventures await us. Well, there's only one episode left. Ah! Those were precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is. Sorry? London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth, whatever that is. But the brightest of lights casts the darkest of shadows. Shadows? What do you mean? Well, I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies behind London's facade already. So, once again, Mr. Naruhodo. Welcome to London. God damn it. I can't help but be charmed by him. God damn it. Of course, at the time, I had no idea of the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke. But it wasn't long before my turn came to lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay behind it. Oh God, how could there, how much story could there possibly be? There's only one episode left! Unless the second game is directly tied to this first game. You know? Because but we only have one episode left! The adventure of the unspeakable story. A bound it was, but not such a hound on any mortal I've ever seen. Or a hound it was. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its oxidized body was outlined in white hot flame. I just so goddamn. There's only one episode left, and then there's a second game. We're already close to beating the first game, guys. Oh my god, it's probably like what, another like fucking, I don't know, 9-10 hours depending on how it goes. Because I think a lot of these cases have been taking like what, 4 or 5 hours for the trial itself, and then investigating also takes time and stuff. God damn, but we're so close to beating the game already. No! God damn. All right. As much as I would love to play more, I'm gonna stop here. But thank you so much for watching. Oh my goodness, what a time! What a time! Oh, I love Ace Attorney so much. Oh my god, I'm so looking forward to playing the rest of this, and then also the second game. But also, I still miss Cosmo so much. I can't believe he's still gone. I can't get over it. At least Sholmes is there to be the other hot, tall guy. But also, goddamn, I miss Cosmo so much. Alright, once again, thank you so much for watching. I am going to... I just remember I had to clean my shower. I gotta go do adult stuff. Such is the life of a grown-up. Okay, bye.